Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, May 14th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Saturday's games. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at pickdawgz.com with the Premium Picks tab. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday, May 14th. First up, we take a look at the San Francisco Giants taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Jakob Junis and Dakota Hudson are the starters for this one. Now, we've seen Jakob Junis start the season pretty well for the Giants. He's pitched 15 innings this season. He's only given up 2 earned runs. Strikeouts have been there for him. You know, we've seen him struggle quite a bit in recent spots in his career, and most especially with the home run ball. That's really been his biggest issue in his career, allowing a lot of home runs. This year, we really haven't seen it. And, you know, I think he has a pretty beneficial matchup here with the Cardinals. Not only have they struggled against righties in terms of team OPS, but in terms of just isolated power in general, Cardinals are ranked 25th in baseball against right-handed pitching in that statistic. They're much better against lefties this season, as they are actually the number 2 powerful team, isolated power against lefties. But against righties hasn't been the case, and with Dakota Hudson on the mound, I know he has a pretty low ERA at 3.56, but I don't know how much longer that's going to stay that low. 18 strikeouts in 30 1/3 innings, 1.32 whip. He's allowing a lot of walks. He's also given up a home run in each of his last 2 starts. I think the Giants have the better starter here. I think they're also the better team with the better matchup. So give me the Giants here on the road on the money line. In our next matchup, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the Atlanta Braves. Sean Manaea and Charlie Morton are the starters for this matchup. Now, this is a really tight series and another close game here. I just think the Padres have the better starting pitcher on the mound with Manaea. You know, Charlie Morton just has not been great this season. I know he pitched well in his last outing against the Brewers, but on the year, still a 5.65 ERA with a 5.42 expected ERA and a 5.48 xFIP. So it really doesn't look like things are getting too much better for Morton. He hasn't really struck out a lot of batters, 7.22 Ks per 9. The walks have been horrific for him, 5.34 walks per 9. That's the highest in his career thus far. Home runs really haven't been an issue for him. They really haven't ever been in his career. Just the strikeouts and walks concern me. Manaea's pitched well for San Diego, and the Padres have hit righties well this season. So I think in a game that's really, really close, I got to take the team that has the better starting pitcher on the mound. So give me the Padres here, especially when you're getting plus money on the road. I'll take them on the money line. Next up, we see a doubleheader matchup between the Los Angeles Angels and the Oakland Athletics. Now, in Game 1, we should see Michael Lorenzen and Paul Blackburn as the starters. In Game 2, Patrick Sandoval is the projected starter. The A's are undecided at the moment. Now, in Game 1, I do think the A's have their best chance to win this game in this series. Paul Blackburn has been fantastic this year. Nobody really saw it coming, but he's 4-0 with a 1.74 ERA, 26 strikeouts in 31 innings. Not too great, but he's really limited walks this year. Only 3 walks allowed, only 1 home run allowed. He's coming off a very strong shutout performance against the Tigers. 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, no walks allowed in that one. And I think he pitches well here. And facing Lorenzen, who I think is one of the weaker links in this Angels rotation, coming off a rough start against the Nationals where he gave up 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, and only 4 2/3 innings. I think the Athletics can get to him here, and I think the A's at least cover the run line as the dog. So I'm going to take them on the run line, getting the 1.5, but sprinkle on the money line as well. And then in Game 2, I think the Angels come back and win this one outright. I'm going to take them on the money line here with Sandoval on the mound. 2.03 ERA this season. I know the A's hit lefties a lot better than they do hit righties, but Sandoval really has just been super sharp. I was really optimistic about him going into this season, and he's delivered for me. And with the A's more than likely going with a bullpen game, I can't really trust it. Not one of the better bullpens in Oakland this season. So give me the Athletics in Game 1 on the run line and the Angels on the money line in Game 2. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers hosting the Baltimore Orioles. Bruce Zimmerman and Michael Pineda are the starters for this matchup. Now, I know Michael Pineda has a 3.43 ERA, but I really don't think that that's going to be lasting much longer. When you look at his advanced analytics and some of the numbers on his Baseball Savant page, you really got to worry about him. He's in the bottom 6th percentile in average exit velo, bottom 9th percentile in expected slugging percentage, bottom 10th percentile in K percentage. he's just not going to be able to pitch this well. It's not sustainable in this game today. And, Bruce Zimmerman, although I also think he's pitching a little bit unsustainably also, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to that 2.67 ERA. I don't think he needs to be that good to win this game. I think the Orioles bats are going to get to Pineda early and often here. And I like the Orioles on the money line as the dog, so give me the O's on the money line. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Miami Marlins, with a pair of lefties going at it in this one, Eric Lauer and Trevor Rogers. The Marlins have really struggled against lefties this season. Not only are they ranked 23rd in baseball in team OPS against lefties, but they're also dead last in the league in strikeout percentage. No team strikes out more than the Marlins do against lefties this year, 29.6% K percentage this season. And I don't think it's going to get any easier against a guy like Lauer, who has 12 plus Ks per 9 this season. He's been one of the more strikeout specialist kind of guys in the league. I don't think it's going to be easy offensively for the Marlins to get things done. And Rogers, although I don't think he's going to continue this rough start to the season, he certainly hasn't shown much this year. He's 1-4 with a 5 ERA. I know he's coming off a great start against the Padres, but you'll have to really string together a couple of good starts for me really to be a believer in him. I'm going to take the Brewers here on the money line. I think it's a decent price here with the much better starter and the better lineup. Next up, we see the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Hyun-Jin Ryu and Ryan Yarbrough, the starters for this contest. Now, we don't see an official lineup for this one yet, so we could see a pitching change. But if Ryu and Yarbrough are the starters here, I'm going to take a slight lean with the Blue Jays on the money line. I really can't trust either of these starters right now. We haven't seen a lot of work from either of these guys, so there's definitely some room for improvement. But Ryu, in his first 2 outings, he struggled quite a bit. He's given up a home run in each of those, 5 earned runs against the A's, 6 earned runs against the Rangers. But Yarbrough, although he pitched well against the Mariners last time out, I'm really not a big believer in his game either. We saw him open the season with a 2 1/3 inning, 5 earned run, 1 home run, 3 walk performance against the Oakland A's. He's facing a much more deadly lineup in this one. I know he's at home here, but I got to take a small lean with the Blue Jays. Just think they have the better lineup, and I think they're going to be able to get to Yarbrough more than the Rays can get to Ryu. In our next matchup, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Luis Castillo and Zach Thompson are your projected starters for this one. Now, the Reds are playing pretty good baseball as of late, and I do think they have another advantage in the starting pitching matchup here with Castillo going. I had big expectations for Zach Thompson this season. He pitched really well for the Marlins last year. I like what I saw from him in spring training, but just hasn't translated to the big leagues this year for Pittsburgh. And I do think he's going to struggle yet again in this spot against the Reds lineup that is heating up. Luis Castillo wasn't the sharpest in his season debut against the Brewers, but I do think his upside is a lot better than Thompson's, and his ability to miss bats facing a pretty weak Pirates lineup, I think will benefit him in this one. So give me the Reds on the money line here, getting a pretty good price just because of Cincinnati's early season struggles, but they are playing really well as of late. Next up, we see the Boston Red Sox taking on the Texas Rangers. Now, with Glenn Otto on the mound for the Rangers, I can't really trust Texas in this spot. I know the Red Sox have been the most underperforming team in the league this year, team that went to the ALCS last season, and now they're playing miserable baseball. But against Otto, I do think the offense is going to wake up here. Glenn Otto, a 3.14 ERA, but a 6.34 expected ERA. The biggest reasons for that, he doesn't really strike out a lot of batters, gives up a good amount of walks, and the home runs have also been a little bit of an issue for him this season, giving up a home run on 16.7% of his fly balls this year. Like I said, the Red Sox have been extreme underperformers, but I do think this is a spot where they get it done. So give me the Red Sox on the money line. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Washington Nationals with Jake Odorizzi and Eric Fedde as your projected starters. Now, I've mentioned at the beginning of the season and throughout the show and on the rundown, Odorizzi's strikeout numbers have been down this year. It's actually one of the worst K rates he's had in his career in 2022. But the biggest thing he's done to be able to improve his game is not allow hard contact. So in 2021, Jake Odorizzi did have a little bit of an issue with allowing hard contact. He was in the bottom 29th percentile in average exit velocity. But this season, he's in the top 65 percentile in average exit velo, 84th percentile in hard hit percentage, and 85th percentile in barrel percentage. So he's not really allowing much hard contact, even though he is allowing a lot more contact overall with only 5.74 Ks per 9. The Washington Nationals offense has been inconsistent. Lately, it's kind of been the Juan Soto show. We know he's one of the better ball players in the league right now, but his team's going to really have to back him up. He has 8 home runs and 11 RBIs, which is kind of crazy to think how you can have 8 homers and only 11 RBIs. Guys aren't really getting on base in front of him, but in this spot, I'm going to take the Astros on the money line behind Odorizzi. Not something I thought I would say this season. I really wasn't a big fan of Odorizzi this year, but I think he is the better pitcher when compared to Fedde, so give me Houston on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Chicago White Sox. Jordan Montgomery and Dallas Keuchel are your starters here. Now, to me, this pitching matchup sets us up for a big offensive showdown. We saw in Game 1 of this series an absolute offensive explosion in a 15-7 Yankee W. And I don't know if this game's going to be as high scoring as that one, but I wouldn't necessarily be too surprised. Dallas Keuchel, a guy that I don't back often. I really don't trust in his game. A 6.86 ERA, and he's going up against the Yankee lineup that has crushed lefties this season. 3rd in baseball in team OPS against lefties. Number 1 in baseball in isolated power against lefties. So I do think they have a good day at the dish. But on the other side, we know the White Sox love left-handed pitching. A lot of righties in that lineup. And they're 4th in baseball in team OPS against lefties and 5th in baseball in isolated power against lefties. Going up against Montgomery, I think they also have a strong day at the dish. So rather than taking a side here, I'm just going to take the over in the Yankees-White Sox. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Minnesota Twins. Now, with Shane Bieber on the mound, I am going to fade him in this spot. I do think there is some value on the other side here. Shane Bieber, last time out, 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 walks, 7 earned runs allowed. And this season, his strikeout percentage is way, way down from the rest of his career. 7.99 Ks per 9 this season. And I mean, last year was at 12.48, so he's really not missing a lot of bats. A 4.13 ERA, but a 4.41 expected ERA, so even the expected ERA is higher than his current one. And I do think the Twins get to him in this spot. So give me Minnesota, not my favorite game on the board, but I'll take them on the money line. Next up, the New York Mets are hosting the Seattle Mariners. George Kirby and Chris Bassett are the projected starters here. Now, when I looked at the potential starters in this series, I thought that this game, Saturday's game between these two, would be the best chance for the dog to win outright the Mariners. I thought Kirby pitched really well in his first outing in the majors. 6 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts, and of course no earned runs in that one. He was fantastic. And Chris Bassett, although he's pitched well this season for the Mets, he's really been a great signing. A guy middle end of the rotation. He's pitched well, but in his last 5 outings, he's given up a home run in 4 of those 5 outings. And I don't really know if I can trust him in this spot, especially with the price that the Mets are laying at home. I think there is some value on the underdog here with the pitcher that's got a lot of upside. So give me the Mariners on the run line here. I think they at least keep this game within a 1-run ball game. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I do think they have a chance of winning it outright as well. Next up, the Chicago Cubs are taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Justin Steele and Zach Gallen are your starters here. I'm going to take the Diamondbacks on the money line in this spot. Zach Gallen has just been fantastic for Arizona this season. He's 2-0 with a sub-1 ERA at .95, a .71 whip this year. 26 Ks in 28 1/3 innings, not too bad. Coming off 7-inning shutout against the Rockies at home. 5 hits allowed, 7 strikeouts in that one. He has just been pitching so well for the Diamondbacks. And I think Steele, I do think he has some issues in this spot against the Diamondbacks. Steele at times has had issues with the walks. He's given up at least 2 walks in 4 of his last 5 outings, and he hasn't really go deep into games. He's only pitched 4 innings, 3 innings, 3 innings. So to give up that many walks in a short amount of time, it can be troublesome against the Diamondbacks team that has a very, very powerful lineup that can clear the bases at any moment. So I do think the Diamondbacks are going to win this game at home. Give me Arizona on the money line. Next up, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Colorado Rockies. Carlos Hernandez and German Marquez are your projected starters. Now, first, when I was researching this game, I saw Daniel Lynch as the projected starter for KC. Thought it wasn't a bad option for him, but with Carlos Hernandez listed, there's absolutely no way I could take the Royals in this spot. We know their offense has been struggling. Usually, Coors Field is a good way to break out offensively, but Carlos Hernandez has just not been good enough on the mound. Last time out, he gave up 6 earned runs, 7 hits to the Baltimore Orioles. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 outings. The walks have been an issue. He doesn't strike out a lot of batters. And when you put runners on base and you don't miss bats at Coors Field, you usually pay an ultimate price. I know German Marquez has not been very good this season, but he is very, very experienced at Coors Field, and he's facing the weakest lineup he's faced this season. So give me the Rockies on the money line at Coors Field. In our final game of the night, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's got to be one of my least favorite games on the board in terms of betting, just because I don't think there's a lot of value. You know, it might be tempting to take the Phillies on the money line because they've hit lefties really well. Dodgers haven't hit lefties too well, but I can't trust this Phillies pitching staff. You know, Ranger Suarez pitched well last time out, but overall this season, he's been so-so, and you know, the Phillies bullpen has been mismanaged and has really struggled at times. We saw in the first game of the series, Phillies jumped out to a 7-1 lead. They almost lost that completely. They did lose the lead. It was a 7-7 ball game, but they were able to find life in the ninth inning in that one. But, you know, at any time this pitching staff has crumbled, even with huge leads, we've seen 2 7-1 leads blown this year already. I got to take the Dodgers here. Urias has pitched really well at home this season. In his last 2 home outings, he's gone 11 innings with only 5 hits allowed, no earned runs allowed, and 9 strikeouts as well. So give me the Dodgers on the run line here in a lean. I think they get the job done at Dodger Stadium. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday, May 14th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.